Public Meetings Act, the notice of the time, date, and place of this regularly scheduled meeting of the Jersey City Historic Preservation Commission has been sent to the Bergen Record and Ella Spesolito on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. The same notice has been sent to the city clerk for posting on the bulletin board outside the city clerk's office in City Hall and on the Jersey City website, and I have proof of this notice in evidence if we can mark this as B1.
B1 in evidence.
Okay, we will move on to a roll call attendance. Commissioner Gucciardo,
Here.
Commissioner Gunther,
Here.
Commissioner Blazak,
Here.
Commissioner Gordon,
Present.
Commissioner Kalbach.
Here.
We have Commissioners Sandkamp, Sakong, Edgecombe, and Vice Chair Gruga all absent, and then Chair Cronin.
Present.
Okay, staff notes that there are 6 commissioners present this evening. 5 affirmative votes are required for a certificate of appropriateness. Next up on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the August 18th, 2025 regular HPC meeting. Are there any questions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, since there are no corrections or changes, staff recommends a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Motion.
Second.
So we have Commissioner Gucciardo,
I'll abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Commissioner Gunther,
Aye.
Commissioner Blazak,
Aye.
Commissioner Gordon,
Aye.
Commissioner Kalbach,
Aye.
and Chair Cronin.
I'll abstain also. I was not at the meeting.
So we have 4 in favor, no against, with 2 abstentions. The motion passes. For correspondence, all copies of correspondence and all application materials are linked on the agenda through their application numbers. And for announcements, staff has 3 announcements at this time. Item 8A under old business, the demolition review of 300 Central Ave, B-25-0166, has carried at the request of the applicant to the October 20th, 2025 regular HPC meeting. Item 9A under new business, case H-25-0079 for 70 Fairview Ave, has carried at the request of the applicant to the October 20th, 2025 regular HPC meeting. And last but not least, the item 11A under demolition review for 149 Monticello Ave, B-25-1109, has carried at the request of the applicant to the October 20th, 2025 regular HPC meeting. And that is all of the announcements. Dan, if you would like to call the first case.
Okay. Hope none of those were for any of you guys, because it's going to make that a bummer. Our first case is H-24-0407 SX3 Architecture, PLLC applicant on behalf of Vaughn Cheney, owner, 635 Jersey Avenue, apartment 2. This is in the Hamilton Park Historic District. They are going for a certificate of appropriateness for the interior renovation and construction.
Down, please.
Sorry. I had a ginger ale beforehand.
And construction of a proposed.
Construction of a proposed roof deck at an altered, contributing Italianate row house built circa 1865 in the Hamilton Park Historic District. Oh yeah, hold it. We missed out on something.
No.
Just open public comment pertaining to anything not on the agenda.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that
Yeah, it looks like
question.
looks
What
like it's
happened to
missing
public
from the
comment?
agenda.
After the July meeting, it was removed at the request of our director.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So what does that mean? No public comment other than on the applications that are here tonight?
Correct. The only thing that's a requirement is public comment on the applications that are on the agenda.
So does that mean the people in the audience will not get to speak unless they're speaking on the applications in front of us?
How about I make a motion to open public comment for,
Second.
Okay. Can you turn on your mic? Yeah.
I think if the commission wants to do it, we should have.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think
Would recommend that the chair limit it to 3 minutes per person.
Yeah.
as
Well, that is
their
correct, yeah.
prerogative.
I
It's
also
3 minutes, folks.
also for the future, I'd like to know why that was requested from the director, and I'd like to hear the reason. But I think we should add that on to our agendas again,
Okay.
unless there's a pertinent reason that we could talk about another time.
Yeah, she asked us to remove it to be consistent with the other boards, but I can also ask her to come to the next meeting if you guys
Yeah,
also want to hear
if there's
from
a
her.
pertinent reason, I'd love to hear it. But okay.
So we have a standing motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we will open public comment. If there are any members of the public here that are wishing to speak in regards to applications not on tonight's agenda, please approach the public comment mic. And as stated, the chair has limited to the public comment to 3 minutes. Our court reporter will swear you in, and then the 3 minutes will start. I will time it, and at 1 minute, we will give you a warning that your time is nearing the end.
And when I swear you in, just state and spell your full name and provide your address also.
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
My name is Cynthia Scott, Cynthia, Scott, Scott. I live at 63 Sherman Place.
Okay, your time starts now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm here before you tonight on behalf of the proposed Sherman Place Residential Historic District.
I'm sorry, are you speaking into the mic?
Oh, am I?
You might
Is
just
it
have to
on
go a
now?
little
Okay.
closer.
Is it
It's
okay
on.
now?
It's on.
Okay. I'm here on behalf of the proposed historic district for the Sherman Place Residential Historic District, which was included in the city's master plan. I'm from the Pershing Field Neighborhood Association, and we've been working with the city for, I would think, about 6 years in going through the process of how to have this district created within the city. We also have raised funds on our own to have the survey done, which was filed, I think, in 2023, and we also worked with the city to get funding for the designation report, which was filed, I think, in either December or January, December 24 or January 25. I'm not sure of which exact date. The problem being that homes are going up for sale in the area of the district, the proposed district, and one was recently sold and now is being partially demolished. And it's of great concern to the people that have worked hard for many years to have this done and work with the city on it to save the architecture and the history of our city. And we're asking for a meeting. We don't. The public meetings have not been scheduled yet. We would like to leave here tonight knowing that at least the first meeting has been scheduled, and that's what I'm here to ask you to do. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak?
I'm a little bit shorter. Not that short. Wait a minute.
Sorry. Yeah. That goes
I'm
off.
so good at these.
Hold on. Don't have.
Help is on the way.
I guess I could hold it.
Yes, sure.
I could just hold it. I'm not going to speak that long.
I want to ask you to raise your right hand, but do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My name is Laura Ford, Laura. Last name is Foord. I live at 101 Sherman Place. I'm also in the Pershing Field Neighborhood Association. As I'm sure many of you know, from 2016 on, we have been working with the city to have our area designated historic district. I believe that we're listed that way in the master plan. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars and gotten a lot of community support over the past 6 years. And just my understanding is that the only thing that's left is the scheduling of 3 community hearings, which is out of our control. It's something that only the city can do. And yet there has been an extensive delay. And it's a little bit beyond our understanding as to why there was such a long delay, because in the middle of that delay, now we have a developer who was able to, I think within about 6 weeks, get a destruction permit to destroy part of a house that is designated contributing house in order to build another house in the backyard. And so we come to you in a feeling of desperation. We really would like to have these hearings scheduled, and we need to have the protection. I don't know if there is a way of having a moratorium on any more of these demolition permits pending the hearings. If there is a way to do that, I would gratefully request that as well. But we really need to protect this neighborhood. It's there. Everybody agrees that it should be historic, and we need your help. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How long have you been waiting for the hearing?
At least 9 months. We were told originally that it was going to be last January or February is when they were going to be scheduled.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. So,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Is anybody else speaking, or should we? You're more than welcome to.
No,
I'll just say literally 2 words. Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Name, Philippia. Last name, Athanasiou -VAARTSTR.
Or B?
V as in Victor, AARTSTRA. Literally, that's longer than what I'm going to say.
3 minutes are
I
up.
know.
Sorry.
3 minutes are up. No, I just want to also bring a voice of just the new families that are moving onto Sherman Place. I run a community group for parents called JC Heights Parents in the Heights. And when the particular property that we're talking about came up on the market, there were a number of families excited and went to see the property and wanted to purchase it for their families. They wanted it to be their forever home, and they didn't even have the opportunity to go inside and view it, because clearly now we know it was going to go to a developer from the get-go. I'm assuming, but we can all kind of fill in the blanks there. I moved on the block, I think 4 years ago now. There's other folks here that have moved there recently as well with young children, and we just really see it as the place where we don't need to go out to the suburbs. We just need to go to Sherman Place. Anytime anybody comes to my house, they're like, wow, this is such a beautiful block. I feel like I've been transported. And I moved to the Heights from one of the first planned communities in the United States, Sunnyside Gardens in Queens, New York. If you guys are familiar, it's this beautiful, 6 blocks of historic houses that are facing gardens. And the gardens are just as historic as their homes are. They're just as protected as their homes are. And what this developer is doing is demolishing this beautiful green space. So I can't sleep at night. I have 2 young kids, 3.5 and 10 months. They should be the ones that are keeping me at night. I should be planning my block party with my neighbors. But instead, I just pass this house, and honestly, I grieve. We need to protect it. We also need to look at what the ordinances are in place that are allowing things like demolishing part of a house for 3 feet of space to get back to an EDU after you're already lengthening that. Like, a fire truck is not going to be able to see where that fire is coming from. That lot is so deep. It's just irresponsible. There's all these loopholes. You guys need to talk with zoning, talk with planning.
1 minute.
And deal with that as well. It's scary what they're able to do. And then my last anecdote is for how quickly that property was able to get their destruction permit, as Laura called it. My friend wanted to add an addition to her house so she could stay in the Heights after she found out she's pregnant with a third. They needed to expand the home. It's been years since they basically are not getting their permits granted. I don't know why. There's like runaround happening. She's moving to Asbury Park. I'm losing my best friend, so I'm extra angry that a family wanted to stay in the Heights and they were not able to do so. Yet this developer is able to get their way in 6 weeks. So I'm also angry, but mainly thankful to you for listening.
Thank you.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Ivan Garcia, IVANGARCIA. I also come as part of the Sherman Place community. Last week was a sad day, last Thursday, where we found out that this developer is going to demolish this house. And honestly, it's more than the house. We're really scared we're going to lose this community. You guys have heard of microclimates, I'm sure. A microclimate, right? So a microclimate, what it is, it's a sub-region that has a different climate, different weather pattern than the larger region that it's part of. And you really have to protect the microclimate. The reason you want to protect it is if you destroy that microclimate, it actually doesn't only impact that region, it impacts the region around it. So Central Park, microclimate. It's a lot cooler in Central Park than the rest of the island. If you were to bulldoze Central Park, Manhattan would actually get a lot hotter. And I'll use that analogy to just talk about what's going on here that I'm concerned about. I feel like we're about to lose a microclimate. And not only are you going to hurt Sherman Place, you're also going to hurt the rest of the community. There's a give and take when it comes to this. Sherman Place has meant so much to me ever since a very young age. Before I even lived on Sherman Place, I would go down Sherman Place and look at all the trees, look at the architecture. I'm really scared we're going to lose that. I'm asking you guys to please do everything you can to just get that one meeting on. That's all we're asking for today. Let's get that meeting. Let's make sure that we are able to hold on to this community. Either God agrees or disagrees with me, but hopefully he agrees. And that's all I'm asking for. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public?
Raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, nice meeting you. I'm Jeanette Pilat. I live on Sherman Place as well, 106. So we're really all neighbors here. And as you can see, I arrived late because I'm coming from work. But just to testify how important this cause is for me, I left at 4:30 for other plans and really cut everything short to be here with you to tell you how significant this can be for our community, but also how big of a ripple effect this can have for Jersey City overall. The first day appeal was really alarming to me, at least. The fact that this is one step further from protecting any historical, let's say, heritage that we can have here in Jersey City. I'm coming, as I said already, last Thursday from France, where this is a no-brainer, really, and this is what people are coming to visit from all over the world. I was hoping that Jersey City would be the same, and this is true, actually, for people who come and visit from New York City. They do talk about the Heights. They do talk about Sherman Place and a few other streets, just as much as they talk about downtown. And by, risking this Sherman Place development, I see how it can actually impact Jersey City overall. So that's the only thing I wanted to say today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. You just leave. Yeah, you can just leave the mic on. It's okay.
Just don't want it to fall. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, and thank you. My name is Mary. Oh,
Your hand.
yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. My name is Mary Quinones, and I live at 105 Sherman Place.
Spell your last name.
Quinones. And I speak for everyone here on this side. All we need is our first meeting date, schedule, so we can move forward. Can we have that date tonight? Can we know of that date? Can we push it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's in charge. I don't.
Well, all questions are directed to the chair. When we're done with public comment, we'll go through all of the ones. Michael's been writing down notes.
Okay. And how long will that take, like more or less? What's the turnaround date?
We'll answer questions when we're done with public comment. Michael's writing all the
okay.
questions
Y'all are done,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, it's
great.
okay.
That's all I had to say, and thank you so much, guys, for
welcome.
listening
Thank you.
to us.
Anybody else?
You can take it out of the holder if it's easier.
I think it will be. Thank you.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Name and address?
Loic Yorka, 106 Sherman Place. I also came running this way.
Name.
Loic is the first name. LLORCA is the last name.
LLO.
RCA for Carolina. Thank you. Sorry, I'm still catching my breath. I ran with Jeanette to come here. I just wanted to emphasize with you guys and thank you for giving us the opportunity to give our part of the story that for all people in Sherman Place and for all people in the neighborhood, including the dog walkers that come from literally all of Jersey City Heights, the preservation of Sherman Place as a historical place in the Heights is of crucial importance. I have many friends, and we came from New York City, living in New York City, having moved recently to Jersey City. Many of our friends are moving into Jersey City, into the Heights, for those heavens that are like Sherman Place, Palisades, and other places in the city.
I'm getting this. For those what?
For the,
Slight accent. So I need to.
I've been told that before. You're not the only one, and you're right.
You're moving into Jersey City. To
Well,
the
yeah,
Heights.
I'll go slower.
Streets.
Yeah, I'll go slower. So we have a couple of streets in the neighborhood, including Sherman Place, Palisades, and a few other places in the Heights, which really are the places where people are considering as a move to go to Jersey City, to relocate in Jersey City from other places, not only around Jersey, but also from Manhattan. That drives in my mind, the spirit of the neighborhood, as well as
What of the
the spirit of the neighborhood, as well as it drives, in my mind, a sense of community. Sense of community in the sense that if you think about, if you were to walk in the Heights for Halloween, for instance, you'll find Sherman Place being one of the key spots where everyone wants to go. Everyone knows what's happening there. It's one of the best decorated streets in the neighborhood. Part of that is due to the actual landscaping, the historical buildings and the houses that you have down there. It's also due to the fact that you have trees, that you have everything that makes that street unique. And this is really what I hope that you will consider preserving, because if that's let open to developments and if the historic preservation doesn't go through in short order, there's a big risk for us as a neighborhood that that sense of community goes away. And that's something that's crucial not only for us, for the neighborhood, but also for our children, for everyone that will grow and will get to benefit from what we are benefiting from right now. So I just hope that you will, as a group, consider that this is something that for the community, for the Heights, for Jersey City as a whole, it will set a great example and a great landmark for our future to basically let us protect that street and preserve it in the way it is right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And sorry for speaking too fast.
Anyone else?
It like slides and I can, yeah, it's very annoying.
Doesn't fall.
That's good.
Thank you.
Looks like it will. I promise it won't. Are there any other members of the public who would like to address the commission? Okay. Seeing none.
I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right. Some of the questions that were asked. So, first of all, I sympathize with all of you. All of you are also looking at me knowing that we have been working on this together for this many years. I have been with you every step of the process from beginning to, I had community meetings on this with you guys in 2019. The consultant did prepare a designation report for Sherman Place. We were able to include it in the master plan as a recommended eligible historic district because of a draft of that report. We received another draft of that report right before I went on maternity leave. And that is, someone's timer.
Your time's up.
And that is why there's been a delay. I've been out on maternity leave the entire length of time that you guys have mentioned. I quite literally came back to work 5 days ago. So there has been reason meetings have not been scheduled is I have not been here to schedule them. I have not been working. I've been taking care of my son. But now I am back at work, so we are obviously looking to pick projects back up, including this one. I am going to work on beginning to schedule the community meetings. Per my discussions with my director previously on this, the typical way we go about this is we have a couple of community meetings, and then it has to go to the HPC for a hearing, the planning board for a hearing, and then city council for 2 hearings because it's a first and second reading of an ordinance. So we will begin to, I'll email the councilman, see if he and I can come up with a date to host a community meeting on this through the councilman's office. I'm sorry, Bridget. That took 29 minutes into a meeting to get to. And if the neighborhood association wants to host a meeting on this as well, I'm happy to coordinate with you guys to either come speak at one of your regularly scheduled meetings, or if you want to host a specific meeting for this, we can work together on that and get a second community meeting on the calendar. Okay? I'm sure one of you has my email. If not, there might be a card over here. Yeah, great. If you guys want to send me an email, we can start working on that. Okay? I appreciate you guys all coming out to speak. We do agree that we do want to designate this. We have put the zoning in place to designate it. We are going to work on it.
I have a quick clarification just on the building that they were talking about being demolished. Do you know if it's a full demolition or a partial?
One wall.
Yeah.
It's the the rear western wall of the building.
Okay, so it's not. Sorry, we can't have shouting from the public. Sorry.
Please wait.
That's all I wanted to clarify. If it was a full demolition, a partial demolition, and if it was a full demolition, would we be seeing that? But since it's not a full demolition, we won't be, unfortunately.
Correct. Did any of other commissioners hear any other questions that were asked that I did not address?
Well, just a little more clarification on when a meeting, because you said you're going to work on it. And Maggie, I know you're busy and I know you're just back, but I think they specifically asked how soon. They wanted to come away with some understanding of when it could start. So I think that's critical, given what's happened on that block. Mm-hmm. We would have been hearing that case had this historic district been in place, and we didn't. So it wasn't within our jurisdiction to hear. So
when is the next Pershing Fields meeting? Okay. When is the one after the next one? Yes.
This is not able to.
Yeah, and she can bear it. It's only one at a time.
I'll come to that meeting in October. Just email me with details, please. But we can't take any more questions from public comment, so we can do everything else over email. Please send me an email. I will happy to hop on the phone if that's easier than email.
I think we had a couple of other questions. One was about whether a demolition moratorium could be put in place pending the hearings.
That is not a choice made by staff or something that we can. That's a executive or administrative decision that we cannot even. I'm going to be honest with you. The last time that happened, that was a choice made by the mayor, who was done through executive order, and then that was overturned by the state courts.
And I believe that was citywide, wasn't it?
It was in fact citywide. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, you can't. Let us do this. You can't join in at this point. Sorry.
So that is something that city planning staff cannot do on our own. To my knowledge, our director cannot do that. That is something that in the past has been done by executive order from the mayor.
Okay.
And the other question I heard was.
Can we, so to that first, so if the public or maybe the HPC would address the mayor on that purpose? Is that maybe
in the
an
past,
idea?
to my knowledge, that is the only person who's been able to do something like that. But it was overturned by the courts, so I'm not sure of the status of being able to do that now.
I think we also heard a question about how did the developer in this instance get that partial demolition permit in about 6 weeks, which seems unusually rapid.
I did not review that application. I don't know timeline. As we did not review it. It's not in a historic district. It's not something that we can speak to the timeline of. I do know a lot of that was discussed at I assume it was discussed at the zoning board meeting. It was not something that we reviewed because it's not a historic district. And I understand the pain point of that sentence. I do. But I don't have an answer on timeline as to why things were and were not reviewed. I physically wasn't here. And
As someone who was involved in the process, I will speak. The zoning review application timeline, and again, I'm not a zoning review agent, but is 10 days. It is not the 45 days that the HPC timeline review is. So when an application is submitted, zoning review agents only have 10 days to review that application and then ask for any changes. So it is a different process than the HPC reviews.
Is it possible for the HPC to render a recommendation to the zoning board, even if it wasn't required to come through our board? And what I mean by that is, I read the guidelines. Michael was nice enough to send them to me on what the zoning board was using, and there were remedies there. There was the possibility of using the Secretary of Interior guidelines. There were some things in there that talked about not changing the view from the street, if I remember correctly. And even though we didn't get to hear that application because of it not being in a district, does the HPC have the ability to render recommendations to zoning on properties of significance in the city?
Commissioner, I'll take that question. Off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure, but I can certainly look into it and give you an opinion after.
That would be helpful because I think more of these cases are going to come up. And if it had been a historic district, I'll venture a guess that we probably wouldn't have approved that application given the demolition involved. So I as a commissioner would like to know whether we have that ability.
I will take your question and get back to you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
well,
Other
we,
questions?
we closed public comment.
Questions from you guys.
It was
I'm sorry?
I was saying, are there any other questions from the commissioners? All righty. Well, let's motion to close public comment.
Already closed.
Already closed.
So we can just move
Yeah.
right back into applications.
And I'd just like to add that I think, I'm hopeful that this can be done soon. We did I was part of the West Bergen East Lincoln Park designation, which is, I guess, like 10 years ago now, and it is a multi-step process, but it is I think worthy, and as is this district. So I'm hopeful that can start, and we can protect the neighborhood.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you all.
Have a good night. As I was saying, should we?
Move back into
Yes,
applications.
we're going to move back into regular scheduled business. Do I need to read it again? Or?
Yeah, if you could call it again. Just
Sure. We're calling again for the second time. Let's see. Case H-24-0407 SX3 Architecture, PLLC, applicant on behalf of Vaughn Cheney, owner of 635 Jersey Avenue, Apartment 2 in the Hamilton Park Historic District. They're going for a certificate of appropriateness for the interior renovation and construction of a proposed roof deck at an altered, contributing Italianate row house built circa 1865 in the Hamilton Park Historic District.
You guys here? You can come right up and
Step
come
right up.
to this
You
podium.
can go to the podium, not the public comment mic. Whoever is testifying.
Yeah.
And if you'd raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And state your full name for the record.
My name is Sean Steinbugler, S-E-A-N, Steinbugler, S-T-E-I-N-B-U-G-L-E-R.
And Mr. Steinbugler, will you please provide the commission with the benefits of your qualifications?
I am the owner and architect at SX3 Architecture PLLC. I'm licensed in the state of North Carolina and New Jersey, and I have the business licenses and the PLLC license to practice architecture in the state of New Jersey.
Great. Staff recommends the chair accept Mr. Steinbugler's qualifications as an expert in the field of architecture.
Accepted.
feel free to begin your testimony. I don't know if you have any digital things that you want to project or anything.
I have, though, have you guys all had a chance to review the set of drawings that were presented to the board?
They are all uploaded on the data portal. Everybody can pull them up in front of them. If you'd like, I can also plug in and project them if you don't have a copy.
I have my laptop that I can use if you'd like me to.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I think it helps.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I say it's always helpful to have them up there because sometimes things load very slowly on these.
Like right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is going off since everything's muted.
What kind of plug? Oh, if you come over here.
Plug in over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plug in my laptop because I don't know exactly how long the battery life has got left on it. In addition to that, we had a little bit of a last minute acceptance to this proposal for this testimony this week. And so in that vein, I do not have all of the material samples for you to review. I do, however, have paint samples for the stucco finish that we would like to propose to use as the exterior finish of the bulkhead. The remaining samples would be just the Trex Lineage Biscayne is the decking material, and everything else should be painted black. The EPDM on the roof should match the EPDM of the existing roof and all of the adjacent roofs. So that I would assume, shouldn't be an issue. And the interior renovation is such that nothing will be noticeable from the exterior in any way, shape, or form. So that I don't personally foresee any issues with complying with the rest of the neighborhood on the interior. The exterior was specifically designed in such a way that it shall not be seen from the street in any way, shape, or form until you get to, I believe, the third floor of the buildings across the street. Once you're on the third floor and up, then you can kind of see over the top of the cornice line, and there's a chance that you'll be able to see the adjacent property. I just want to project one thing for you instead of all of it. All right, cool. Why did it just do that to me? Okay. Not sure why it's changing from being extending to duplicating again, but
It's always the way, isn't it?
changes, that's why. Sent out. This is the one that we just used. So the document I'm pulling up right now is the set of drawings that was that was submitted for approval. And it will be hopefully much smaller than it is right there. Clearly not, okay. There we go. And yes, I know that my signature is on there. I got it. So as you can see from this street section here, we were very proactive on the location of the bulkhead to make sure that there was no portion of it that was visible from either the stoop or any other portion of the buildings across the street. We wanted to make sure that everything was very conscious of the fact that we wanted to preserve the fabric and the nature of the buildings around us. And even to the extent that it has been pushed back from the back wall so that it is limited in the amount of obstruction from the backyard right of way as well. You will see the railing for fall protection, but that is intended to be very transparent. It's a metal railing, as illustrated in this section here. It's just a metal railing with vertical balustrades. That's probably easier to see now. You go up. That's the existing. Why did it go down pages? There it is. You can see in the section here that is on the larger screen, it's just vertical sections and horizontal top and bottom. The structure to hold it up is intended to be not even penetrate the roof. It is a series of structurally composite standoffs that actually sit on the roof with minor adherence to it so that they don't slide off, and then not penetrating the roof so that if in the future this does need to be removed, it's not a lot of extra impedance on whatever future projects may occur. All of the lights have been considered, and all of the lights are downcast, not to project upwards and create light. That's the word I'm looking for. Not light up the whole area. It's not making it so that there's no beacon on that one property. It's intended to be downcast so that it's just for lighting of the space when people are occupying it in the evenings. It is intended that there will be vegetation on the roof, but the vegetation we have noted that we're going to make sure that it's low enough to not be visible from either public right-of-way, whether the front yard or the backyard. And we're in the function of this is because we wanted to have an outdoor space available for the upper tenant of this building. Currently, the only outdoor space on this building is the backyard, and the backyard has been deemed to be more private to the lower floor tenants, and they didn't want to have to go through that to get to the backyard. So instead of building a balcony off the back, which would impede the lower tenant or also disrupt the aesthetics of the rear facade, the decision was to go more for the roof, which keeping the envelope the same of the existing building. I don't know of any other things to describe this building other than we're trying to maintain every detail that we can of the surrounding neighborhood in the application of these new elements to the existing structure.
So is there any view of this over the rear facade from 6th Street?
From 6th Street. If there is any view from 6th Street, the view is of just the railing at most. I don't believe you can see the bulkhead at all from 6th Street.
Okay.
And actually, I think it's on the map. Up here, yeah. So from 6th Street, this building here actually blocks your view of the whole building completely. From 7th Street, there is a large rear fire stair that has been installed on that one portion. It's not shown up on this map because it wasn't drawn, and I don't know the dimensions. This block plan was taken from the New Jersey City or Jersey City State or block area plan from the website, and that's how I was able to get the locations of these properties. There's a element that was not on that plan that is about right where the cursor is. That is a large rear stairwell that was installed that I believe impedes any view of this bulkhead from 7th Street as well. I do know that there was a bulkhead roof deck right where this one is located, and from there obviously you can see it, but that was the only one that I remember being able to see. We happen to have a mutual friend who lives at that location that we were able to go up there and see and take some photographs to make sure that what we were doing wasn't impeding the rest of the view.
All right.
Can you take us to the floor plan so we can see the size of the deck and what it occupies on the roof?
Yep. So this should be the floor plan existing above and proposed below. There's an existing skylight that is being removed, and there's an interior stairwell, and that interior stairwell is just being extended one more floor to get to the top, and that skylight is being removed and replaced with the bulkhead. So this is the existing above and the proposed below.
And I think you mentioned before, but it looks like it's set back from the actual rear facade and the parapet, or if there is a parapet, so it's set back a few
The
inches.
only parapets are longitudinal on the building, separate the fire rating ones that separate the row houses. There's no parapet on the back side. There's only a parapet on the front side. The back side actually just goes down, and that's where the gutter is for the rear drainage, and it runs down the whole length of the building from there.
And how close is the rear railing to the edge of the roof?
The rear railing is as close as I'm allowed to get it for structure. It lines up directly on the wall below it. But that is because I wanted to have the secondary access to be through the fire escape, which is already there. I didn't want to try to create a new structure back there to.
Oh, so there's a
So,
fire,
yeah,
just
so
so I
right-
understand.
Right here, there's an existing fire escape.
I see.
And that was the only existing access to the roof for maintenance or anything like that. So I wanted to utilize that, so we didn't change anything on the rear fire escape at all, other than maintenance. I wanted to keep that as original as possible. If it is requested, we can make a little landing right there and pull that railing further in if that's something that you guys would need. But I was trying to keep it as original as possible on the rear facade.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I understand how your roof deck and your roof railing relates to the fire escape on the back of the building. You say you wanted to keep it original, so.
Correct.
Are you saying that's going to be a means of egress from the roof to the fire escape?
That is the alternate means of egress, is to get down. If there's a fire inside and you're on the roof, you are able to use the rear access through the fire escape.
I see.
I didn't want somebody to be stuck on the roof and not be able to get down.
Okay.
Are those?
Do you have a photo of the rear facade?
I do actually, I believe, have a photo of the rear facade. Let's just have to find it. What is the Wi-Fi here? Because these are all not on my local drive.
It's the public Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it should just be
I
public
think.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And then you have to agree to some consent that I honestly can't tell you what's in there, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to steal your data.
Okay, public Wi-Fi, continue. We'll double check here. Let's see if this will open now. It might just be faster. I have it on my phone. I can pull it up for you easier that way, and if that's okay, I can somehow pass it around for you guys to look at.
There should be some dongles there that connect to the HDMI cord, and one of them should connect to your phone.
Okay, I will do
Maybe.
that.
Yeah, there's a USB-C on there and a lightning, so it should be fine.
In the meantime, I will pull up the photo so that it's not going through all of them for you. There we go. So this is the front facade, if you guys are unfamiliar. And the samples that I have for the stucco actually match the lower level stucco of that building. So that way, when we do the proposal, it should look as if it was from there from the beginning. That was the intention. Is rear, I believe. Still interior. It's a staircase. Clearly, I took a lot of photos during my survey. That is the rear. So this is the rear facade of the building.
Okay.
This is not a photo now instead of the video. So this was a couple of years ago, but that fire escape with the stair going up on the right side is the one I'm referring to.
So there's the ladder. You go up
Yes.
the ladder,
Yep.
and then I guess the only question is, do you need a landing even for egress, or can the gate? Do you want the gate right there?
Yeah.
On the other side of the ladder anyway.
The intention was that the ladder at that, or the gate at that point swings in, so that the deck itself becomes the landing when you get to the top.
Yeah.
I wasn't intending that you would want to go up as a means of escape.
Right.
So as you're going in, the door is going to be open when you're trying to escape. I don't want to go out in case didn't want it to swing out. Out in case there was somebody standing on the ladder. You don't want to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
My only question is,
Yes.
with this existing roof ladder, is there a clearance requirement like a landing requirement on the roof surface for that before the deck can start?
And not that I'm aware of, no. I believe it's just one more step up, as if it was just a normal staircase. I can do my due diligence and double check, but as far as I'm aware, there is no requirement for a setback. Currently, it is going on to the roofing itself from that point. So there's no physical landing up there per se. Regarding coming out of the lower floors, there's a landing because you're coming out of a window and you need to be able to step onto something solid to be able to go down the staircase.
Right.
But you already are on something solid at the upper floor.
Right. I think my motivation was you may not be required to do it, but visibility from the rear is also important to us.
Correct.
So I would prefer to have the railing minimized from the back as well.
Okay.
But I don't know that you have a requirement to do that, but you seem to be willing to step it back a
Yes,
little bit.
if you would like us to step it back a little bit from there, I can. The design is open such that if necessary, we can step it back 2 feet or something like
Let's
that.
see what other commissioners think about that.
The only part to that is that we would like to maintain the amount of square footage that we've been utilizing. So we would want to move the opposite wall slightly forward, closer to the front of the building, to make sure that we're not losing square footage of the occupiable roof deck.
Yeah, as long as it's
As
still
long as it's
not in the
visible,
public view.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Just a thought.
It is in the ordinance. It does need to be 10 feet back from the facade. That's in the ordinance.
On the rear facade.
Oh, not the rear facade, the
No,
front
just
facade.
the front facade.
Got
Correct.
it, sorry.
Yeah, he's good
Ignore
on
me.
the front facade, 10 feet. I was looking to minimize his view from the rear.
You're good.
If it was workable in the design and not going to be,
Yeah, no, I will. Vaughn is right there. I'll confirm with him before I make any changes, obviously. But in my architectural opinion, I think we can probably make it manageable to do so.
Okay.
Is there any visibility of the AC condensing units from any public right-of-way?
The AC condensing units, I do not believe so. They are, unless you're up a couple floors, you aren't going to be able to see it because they are stepped back from the rear facade, such that the angle of the sight line it's going to be obstructed by the cornice.
And what was the railing material?
It's black anodized aluminum.
Okay, thank you.
And before I forget, as I went through the exercise of finding these for you guys, I figured I would pass them around so you guys can take a look at them. For the larger pallets, it is the third row up from the bottom. the front facade has been maintained over the years, and depending on what part you look at and what lighting you have, the shades and tones adjust slightly. So
Yeah, I guess is this different?
no, these are options to try to
These are
match the
options.
existing.
Okay.
Yes, these are
So you're-
depending on what part you look at. If you're
Yeah.
looking at the front stair versus the front wall versus underneath the front stair, there's different lights and different colors of paint.
And this
that
is for the
has been
stucco
used.
cladding of the bulkhead?
Correct. Yeah, I wanted to match the existing front facade.
Okay.
If you're asking what we think, I would tell you the lighter the better.
Okay.
Because it's not so much that important that it matched the front of the building, but that it disappears as much as a structure on top of the building.
Correct. I agree 100%.
So that would be my input
So
on that.
we will, in same tone and hue, I will just, if we go with a lighter shade, then it would.
It might help with visibility.
Correct. I 100% agree. It also is environmentally better because you're going to reflect more light than absorbing
Exactly.
light. So
Exactly.
you don't have to heat it and cool it quite as much.
Sure. Exactly.
Any further questions? Does that conclude your testimony?
I am concluded as long as you guys have all the answers you need.
Okay. We will move on to public comment. If there are any members of the public who would like to address the commission regarding this application, please approach the public comment mic. Staff sees no members of the public and recommends a motion to open and close public comment.
Make a motion to open and close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we'll move on to staff comments. So this is a pretty straightforward roof deck application. As the architect mentioned, it is not visible from the front facade. The roof bulkhead is sloped, which further reduces visibility from oblique angles. And this is really pretty consistent with similar roof decks throughout the historic districts, including the ones in the adjacent properties seen on the site plan. HPC staff believes that the proposed work, including the roof deck, bulkhead, and interior renovation, will not have an adverse effect on the historic district or the resource. And in HPC staff's opinion, the project as proposed will not cause an adverse effect on the character and or integrity of the historic resources or the Hamilton Park Historic District, and recommends a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness with the following conditions. So the conditions in the staff report are standard conditions. The one that I did grab while we were talking is the applicant shall work with HPC staff to move the roof deck footprint further from the rear facade. I don't know if we wanted to put a specific distance.
The other thing I was going to say, I don't know if you were able to go on a site visit and see if you think we're going to see any of the railings, just so they're pushed back to minimize visibility.
So I didn't see anywhere that you would see it from Jersey Ave.
Yeah, it's obviously would be over the rear facades from 6th or 7th.
I don't believe that they'll be visible, but if we would like to move them in, one of the requests that I had made while I was reviewing the plans was moving it in a little bit. It was actually like on top of that rear facade. It's not a parapet, but end wall, and they moved it in a few inches to satisfy myself. If you'd like them to move it further, I don't see an issue with that.
Yeah, if it's not going to adversely affect where the bulkhead is coming through from downstairs, we're not looking to create any, burden for the applicant, but a couple of feet at least, to minimize its view from.
Yeah, and there's enough room in the front where they can go back and not hit that 10-foot requirement. So I think
It might be more pleasurable to be up there when you're not sitting at the roof's edge. So whatever distance you can bring it back would be appreciated.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
No.
This one.
Yeah, so I can move. Moving the bulkhead itself is challenging because of
Yeah,
its
I
alignment to the
understood.
staircase below. Moving the railing forward towards the front of the building, I think, is feasible. Obviously, I would still like to keep the access to that the staircase, Is there any way that we could would you like us to put vegetation or some sort along that back edge, or you want to keep it as original as possible?
Yeah, I mean, the rear roof lines
Are
are
consistent.
as important historically as the front, in my opinion. So if you can not affect it, that would be great.
Move it forward. Yeah, understood. Yes.
Okay.
And if you have a dimension that's preferable,
I don't know how far it has to go back. That's,
Okay.
you know, in order to not be seen, and where is it you're not seeing it from, I think you can work that out with Michael.
okay. And I just remembered the one on the corner of that block at the far end by Jersey Ave and 7th Street is not historically preserved. It's not part of this row house, and it is 3 stories taller than everything else.
Sure.
So you're not gonna really see a whole lot until you get just in one little alleyway. So
Yeah, no, I think it's for the benefit of the other people enjoying their yards. Yeah,
I understand 100%. I just wanted to put that into the
sure,
into the minutes.
understood.
Sure.
Okay. So again, HPC staff's recommendation is a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness with the conditions in the staff report as well as those read down to the record.
I'll make a motion to approve with the conditions as read by staff.
Second?
I'll take a roll call. Commissioner Gunther?
Aye.
Commissioner Blazak?
Aye.
Commissioner Gordon?
Aye.
Commissioner Gucciardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Kalbach?
Aye.
And Chair Cronin?
Aye. Congratulations.
So we have 6 in favor, no against, no abstentions. The certificate of appropriateness with conditions is approved.
Alrighty, moving right along to case H-24-0463. That is Stephen Joseph, ESQ, applicant on behalf of Risha Batra, owner. Did I get that right? All right, good. 214 4th Street in the Harsimus Cove Historic District. They are here tonight for a certificate of appropriateness for the proposed 4-story addition to an existing 4-story building, a roof deck, interior renovations, and front facade restoration at an altered, contributing Greek Revival townhouse built circa 1855 in the Harsimus Cove Historic District.
Good evening, everyone. Michael Higgins, actually, this evening from Castano Quigley Cerami on behalf of the applicant. This is 214 4th Street. It's in the Harsimus Cove Historic District. It's a 2.5-story building that the applicant is proposing to do in addition to the rear of it, some work to the front facade, and convert it into a 3-story building. That'll all be evident when we go through the plans in a little bit more detail. The purpose of the application really is this is a home that needs a little bit of work and touching up. It has a little bit of ongoing water damage from different issues and some gaps in the facade that allow sort of rodents to get in. So it's just the applicant trying to make a little bit more room for themselves and their growing family. So with that, we do have only one witness. It's Jeff Jordan, our architect, if we could have him sworn in.
Alrighty.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And your full name and spell it?
Jeff, Jeff, Jordan, Jordan.
And staff notes that Mr. Jordan has previously been qualified in front of this board as an expert in the field of architecture.
Thank you very much, commissioners, for your time here tonight. Just one moment while I plug in. And welcome back, Maggie.
Thank you.
A lot of options over here.
While Jeff is connecting, could we clarify how tall this building is and how many?
Yeah, because I read what was in front of me.
I believe it's 3 stories with a basement.
Correct.
So a basement is considered a story in Jersey City.
It's
It
habitable.
says 4-story building with
So
a
it's
Get into it now.
4 stories.
Okay.
3 stories in a basement, 4 stories.
And,
zoning code
and
and
the attorney
building-
said 2.5 stories,
Are being added to it?
so I'm confused.
I think the half story is.
If you like, I can take you through it.
Thank
I was about to say, let's let Jeff take us through
Okay.
this. He's the one who has to stamp them, so we'll trust him on height and stories here.
Okay.
Yes, we, yeah, so thanks again for the time tonight. We've spent close to a year working on this application, both with Maggie, then with Michael, and with Dan. So we've sort of worked with the entirety of HPC staff at this point. Council was very generous when he said the house is, has a few kind of a little bit of wear and tear. This house is in terrible shape. This building, I'm sure anyone who's been downtown is familiar with this building. It's an anomaly in the neighborhood, on the street, and the interior is actually worse than the exterior, if you can believe that. The floors are incredibly uneven. There's a lot. It's been so badly altered through the years that there's really very little left inside, to its sort of structural detriment at this point. So what's being proposed is, as council mentioned, was an expansion of the existing house. It is quite small. It's about 2,200 square feet, I believe, currently. And that's including the basement space, which is like a 5-foot tall space. Expanding that, essentially doubling that space if you count the basement, to make it more suitable for their family. They're a growing family. They also have older relatives who spend a good amount of time with them, and so trying to accommodate that growth. So the project's located on 4th Street between, was it Erie and Grove, if I'm not mistaken? Yes. If you can see in the block plan here, can you guys see my cursor? Yes. All right, so here's the subject property. As you can see in the block plan, it's actually quite a bit smaller than its neighbors in terms of its footprint. What we're proposing is an expansion, a rear yard expansion to the existing structure. Everything conforms and complies with the zoning. There's no variances being sought here. It's all as of right from a zoning perspective. At the site plan level, what we're proposing is to the front of the building, an addition of a landscaped area, which you can see here, which will be replacing more or less a full front yard of concrete in this place. So adding some vegetation and some permeability, rebuilding the existing front stoop, and then a facade restoration, which I'll get to in a minute. As we move to the back of the house, the back of the property, again, it's sort of an underwhelming yard in this instance. We're proposing new fencing around the perimeter, new plantings, and a new yard space for their child, perhaps children, and dog, and for them to enjoy. So quickly take you through the plans. The existing basement, as I mentioned, is about 5 feet tall, hard to stand up in. We're proposing a slight excavation of the existing basement with underpinning and then an expansion into the rear yard to make this useful space, both as a gym, a sort of shop, kind of workspace, and then a family room. There's a half bathroom down on this level as well. One thing you will notice is, as I take you through the plans, there is an elevator being proposed with this project, which goes up to the bulkhead. That is, again, for accessibility for family members who are not able to use the stairs. At the ground floor or first floor level, you can see here this is the existing kind of open living, dining, kitchen space. We're essentially proposing an expansion of that. So the front of the house would remain living space. And as you move to the back, there would be kitchen, dining space. We're also proposing a secondary rear entrance, which would double as a sort of mudroom. They do have a kind of narrow alley type space, walkway, on the, what is that? That is the eastern side of their property. So there would be a secondary access at the back of the property. And then you can see it opens out to the backyard with a small patio and then the yard space. There is a light well element here adjacent to the patio, which would be used to bring light and air down into the family room in the basement. At the second floor level, there are currently 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. What's being proposed is a new primary suite with an ensuite bathroom and closets, and then a nursery space and an office space with a full bathroom. That's the second floor. And then what is currently a half story now with one room and one full bathroom, we're proposing expanding that out toward the back again as the third story, in this case from a above ground perspective. And there would be 3 additional bedrooms on that level and an additional 2 bathrooms. So those are the plans. Oh, sorry, there's one more. There's a roof plan. So the stair does and the elevator do extend to the roof top. We're proposing a roof deck in the back of the property. Neither the bulkhead nor the roof deck would be visible from the public way. And I'll show you, this will become more clear in this section in the elevations. So the existing front facade, as I mentioned, has been very heavily altered through the years. Was up until just a few weeks ago was vinyl sided. That siding has been removed. We did some site exploratory work with staff to identify any evidence that remains as far as what may have been there previously. I'll take you through some of those photos here in a moment. But you can see on the far right side there, that's the 38 photo, which is showing the facade at that point had already been altered. Best we can tell with asphaltic shingles to look like brick. And then again, it was even more heavily altered to what it was just a few weeks ago. And now it is covered in a weather barrier protective membrane until construction can start. What we're proposing, and this was sort of worked out with staff and trying to use a combination of the photographic evidence and then the site evidence we uncovered following demolition, is as true as possible reconstruction of what would have been there historically. So the facade, I'm going to actually pass around these materials. What we're proposing for the front facade is a wood siding material. Unusually, I think, as staff identified when we were on site, the siding had actually been, there's 2 layers of siding. One is a lap siding. We thought that was the original siding. And then the closer we looked, I'm going to switch to the photos from the visit. The closer we looked, we actually realized there was a underlying tongue and groove siding, which was determined, which likely we think would have been the actual finish and not a sheathing. And so we took a closer look at that, and you can kind of see it. Bear with me. So actually in this image here, you can see, if you see my cursor, this is the lap siding that was added. These boards were subsequently added to that for the benefit of the vinyl siding. Mm-hmm. But below that, there's a board here, which is a tongue and groove, and best we could tell from site measurements, is a 1x8 wood sided board. So what we're proposing is going back with a 1x8 wood siding on the front. I don't know where my drawing went. The windows would also be trimmed in wood. Replaced new wood windows, 6/6 divided lights, a new front door, wooden door with a transom above it, and then rebuilding the surround door hood, pilasters, cornice as well. I'll take you through those details in a moment here, but that's the sort of broad idea. The samples I'm passing around are of the wood siding that's been painted the actual color we're proposing. And then there's a sample board showing the different colors, including the siding, the trim, the window and door, and then the metal railing that we would be replacing the front yard would be that dark color there. The red metal is what we're proposing for the roof. That apparently was a popular color back in that day. And so that would be both the primary roof of the house, which you're seeing here in the rendering, as well as the sort of sub-cornice over the door there, the little bit of roof that's left from that.
A little bit, what was that?
The little bit of roof that's left over that. The rear facade, we transitioned to a more modern, more open facade with larger windows. We have a small balcony and an overhang over the sliding doors, or French doors, sorry, from the kitchen space. On the sides, what we are trying to do here is, you can see in the image above, that's the original sort of massing of the building, simple gable structure. we're trying to retain that on the front. Note that there are buildings on either side. On the west side, the building's about a foot away. It's set back a little bit further than we are, but it'll obscure the majority of the addition. On the right side as you're facing the building, or the east, there's that 3-foot alleyway, or roughly 3-foot alleyway. But that building is actually closer to the street, so it's obscuring the facade, or I'm sorry, the side of the building as well. So the sides of the building here are much more clearly represented than they, I think, will be in reality on site, or the experience of them. So what we're trying to do is maintain at least the appearance of the massing of the original building on the front. And then as we get to the line where that building becomes new construction, we're transitioning to the fiber cement siding that I included. We have a line of trim delineating it, and that's also where we position the bulkhead, such that all that mass is back from the original form of the building. You'll note on the side that there were windows up in that half story. Originally, they too have been altered through the years, and so this is our best guess as to the size and location of them. That will all be determined once we do further demolition as one of the conditions of the approval. This is the east elevation. Along the east side here, you can see the bulkhead sticking up at the back there. You can also see the door entering into the mudroom. Adjacent to the door, that carve out in the building is actually a spot for the garbage and recycling to go out of the way, tucked in. In section here, this illustrates the view from across the street, your sort of standard line of sight. As I noted before, there is an elevator going from the basement to the roof. It was really important to the owners that that access be provided on all of the levels of the building there. And so we've worked really hard to minimize the structure of the bulkhead such that the elevator will fit in there and it will still be not visible from the street. And note, as I pointed out before, that bulkhead corresponds with the back of the existing building. We did that so that we could sort of maintain that original shape or massing. And if I go back to the plan really quick, you'll see that the sort of portion of the rear walls have been retained. Right, you can see here. And so all the rooms kind of line up along the back of the existing building. Then we have the bulkhead, then we have the new space. Or I'm sorry, then we have the stair and elevator, then we have the new space. So in section now, you can see it is 3 stories above grade plus that basement space. The stair cut through with the elevator, the bulkhead. Let's quickly take you through the details. So we did have the benefit of some pretty good site evidence. I can show you here in this image. Following the removal of the vinyl, you can see here the profile and the paint ghost of the cornice there over the door and the molding that would have been there, right? So we were able to take actual measurements of that. We also were able to determine that there was a trim panel adjacent to the pilaster there. So all that's represented here with the door detailing. As I mentioned, a new stoop that would be made out of bluestone and concrete with a new railing. Showing here the new metal fence in the front yard, and then the new wood fencing that would go around the backyard. Some details through the new cornice, through the door, through the windows, are sort of traditional, or sort of typical, I should say, historic details for a facade like this. Additionally, we have details for the rear facade. Again, a more modern take, a little bit more minimal detailing. That's with the fiber cement, different window profiles, less trim. And some additional details at the roof, showing the railing for the roof deck, as well as skylights and some of the bulkhead detailing. I believe that is everything, and I will conclude my testimony.
And if we could just mark those photos as an exhibit, those would be A1.
I think, were they added to the portal?
These were previously submitted, these drawings, they were on the portal.
Not the drawings, the exploratory demo photos.
Oh, yes. I believe those were uploaded as well, but if they were not, then we can,
Let's just mark them to be safe.
okay, we'll mark them as A1.
Thank you.
So that does conclude our direct testimony. If there's questions for the architect, I'm sure he's happy to answer them.
Okay.
I appreciate the efforts to reconstruct the original design using the site evidence. Can any of the historic fabric be salvaged? We saw the photos that you found of the tongue and groove material. Is any of that salvageable?
Unfortunately not. I don't believe so. We didn't go through and do an exhaustive inventory of it, but the areas where we were trying to take measurements, we noticed the wood had been pretty badly, is already starting to decay, crumble. I would imagine that's sort of indicative of what we're going to find elsewhere. So we can see as part of the demolition process, if we're able to salvage any of those boards, if we could, that'd be wonderful, right?
Yeah.
I'm just judging by the number of layers that we found on top of this building, they're probably pretty hole riddled at this point. And yeah, so we could see what condition they're in. Perhaps if not reused on the facade, there may be a way to reuse them in the house somewhere.
Yeah, I think that would be excellent if there are any portions that survive through the years. We saw the sightline drawing of the bulkhead, and it looks like it's a pretty close call. It's just barely not visible. Can you just confirm whether the bulkhead will be visible at all?
So based on our measurements, which I will admit are not perfect in terms of the heights of everything in that section through the street, our understanding is that it will not be visible. Now, what we've done in the past in situations like this is we basically will put a story pole up at that point during construction and have staff come out and take a look, and we all agree that it's okay or not. One thing we did try and do, you can see here in the front facade study, is at the stair, we're trying to dip the bulkhead back down to kind of follow the profile of the stair. Obviously, we couldn't do that with the elevator because of the shape of the elevator, but we can see what that actually looks like as we are framed up to that point, if that's helpful.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to confirm that it's not visible from directly in front of the property. And then my last question is about what the rail and fencing materials would be.
Yes, so the rail in front would be steel. The fencing would be, as you go back, that's treated wood on the back of the facade, or I'm sorry, in the backyard. And then there's one area where we have, so up here, if you see, again, as our effort to try and maintain some of that roof profile, we dipped the edge of the roof down to the ceiling or roof level below that third floor there. And we used the zone between what is a parapet over the new construction portion containing the roof deck and transition to a vertical picket to match the front guard or rail. That would likely be in painted aluminum in that case. Same color as the steel down below. That is really more of that portion of the roof, if I go back to the plan,
I need to see.
is not meant for use. That is where the mechanical equipment's being concealed. And so that's really more of a safety feature. The building code requires anything within 10 feet of the edge of the roof have some sort of guardrail. And so we're providing that there. The portion that is in the back is the actual occupiable roof deck. That's going to be enclosed with a parapet, no special guardrail there.
And is any of that metal railing just behind the peak of the roof going to be visible from 4th Street?
So as I mentioned before, and you can kind of see in the either the existing facade or proposed front facade image, the building to the east is almost all the way up to the street. I think it'll be very hard to get a sight line, even with that alley space, to see any of that. On the west side, I don't think you're going to see it at all because that building is so close. We're doing it such that if it is visible, it'll at least reinforce that roof profile so that you see the original kind of peak. But I don't think it's going to really be visible.
Just to be clear, the railings that are on the roof, that you were just describing are set in from the sides 10 feet?
No. So any mechanical equipment that's within 10 feet of an edge of a roof
Yeah.
requires fall protection. And so since we have equipment up there that's within 10 feet, we're providing that fall protection. And so that's actually out at the edge. We could pull them in a little bit if beneficial. And I suppose that's something along with the bulkhead when we take a look up there. And if there is any visibility, if that's preferred, we can pull that in. We're not using all that space on that side. That's all for utility essentially. So we could
Right.
bring those in if it's helpful.
And is there any way to move the utility in further from the edge of the roof?
So we have, we're pretty close to the 10 feet. We're trying to maintain a full height door there, so it's easy to access that equipment. So depending on I suppose the final equipment selection and the footprint, we might be able to move it in 10 feet and avoid that.
Yeah, because
I personally feel a little bit uncomfortable having people doing work, even if it's beyond the 10 feet without any sort of fall protection.
Well, we have that throughout the
Yeah,
city
I know,
on
know.
all of the
Yeah.
all of these row house roofs. There's no fall protection
Yeah.
whatsoever. So
And fortunately, they're not operating under my license, so I don't have to worry about them. But in this case, I think let's see where the equipment is. I think at minimum, we probably could pull it in a little bit,
Yeah.
Which might help with that sight line.
because any efforts you've made to maintain the roof line, although it's not all the way down to where it originally was, is kind of eliminated by those railings.
Yeah, and that's
I
why we
think.
tried to keep them open at least, so that you still read that roof edge. But I understand.
Yeah.
Well, am I excuse me, am I reading this wrong on this roof plan? You have the proposed guardrails and they're clouded and it looks like they are set in.
Thank
from
you.
this-
You're right. I apologize. They are set in already. We've already done it. We're ahead of you on this.
That's why I asked the question to begin with.
Yes, this has changed quite a few times actually. So yes, that was.
Thank you.
changed. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Commissioner Boyzak.
And the railing on the extension that you're building, that goes right out to the edge, or is that a parapet?
That's a parapet, so it's just a continuation of that wall.
I have other questions, but you guys can. however you
The only
want.
thing I said that you mentioned, you said treated wood on the wood fence that is in the same plane as the building. Is that right?
Yeah, I should clarify. That fence would not be, and actually in the rendering it shows treated. That would be painted the same color as the house.
Okay.
Yeah, the fencing going around the backyard would be treated wood. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it actually calls it out as painted on the.
And I'm curious along those same lines as how it was decided to go to a metal railing out in front, because this building's from 1855, a wood frame building. How did it get determined that you do metal railings on the stairs and metal out front?
I think that was. I apologize for not. There's been a lot of changes along the way, and I can't remember at what point we were going to actually try and preserve the existing stoop, and then we realized the condition was in, and the rise and run ratio of the stairs landing, all that did not work very well as it was, and it was determined that it would have been wood originally.
That's what I was
thinking.
thinking.
I believe staff gave us the option of, since wood is not that practical in this application anymore, using a masonry substitute. So
She's got something for you there.
Oh, yeah. She's pointing out the neighbor's fence. We were asked to continue the fence because that's the paradigm on the street, less about the period of the building. But the stoop itself, as you would identify, would have been wood. But
I
the
would
option
venture
was
the fence would have been most likely wood as
Probably
well.
wood as
So,
well, yeah.
and it is an 1855 structure, so I think that needs revisiting. We just had, if you recall back to 8th Street, someone did something in masonry that should have been wood, and we've actually had them undoing the masonry and putting it back to wood, and we spent awful lot of time on that. It doesn't look right either in your drawing.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that on 8th Street, that is a whole block of these types of buildings.
I know.
And this is more the outlier on this block. There's not. Are there any other frame buildings on this block? Maybe one.
This block's been pretty heavily altered, especially
Yeah.
this side of this block.
I think
There
your
are a
tax,
number-
your tax photo, I believe, shows a wood fence as well, if I'm not mistaken.
So I could see there being an argument for context. I think I'd probably want to agree and maybe want look at it a little bit more on the fencing, though. But I think there could be an argument for what they're doing now. We just probably want to see what the context is on the block.
Yeah, I mean, I may be speaking out of my expertise here as the attorney, but after speaking with my client briefly, I believe there were a number of metal fences along that block.
It doesn't matter if there's metal fences along the block. I mean, that's usually what a applicant would say, is that, well, there are other metal fences on the block. We're looking at this property to try and determine what's appropriate for this property.
Yes.
And it's also an 1855 house. That's a pretty old house. And being a wood frame house, not a brick house, there's most likely it would have been a wood fence.
Yes, so we can investigate that further. The character of that block was sort of the consideration, I think, at that time. I spoke with my client. They're completely fine with it either way. We can do it either way.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
The would be a lot less expensive. That's the sort of thing we could work out with staff if that satisfies the commission, or however you want to handle it. They're, as he said, they're open to it. We're open to it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think originally we didn't have any fencing there. We were asked to add a fence there, so
Yeah,
we
no,
could do that too.
Jeff, this reminds me of the project that you did on Cold Street, I think it is. 115. Do you remember if that was, and it's kind of similar where that's kind of an outlier and there's not a lot of frame buildings. And I'm just curious, do you remember if you did a wood or metal fencing?
Did a
and
metal
stoop there?
fence there. Yeah, that was a wood frame, balloon frame. Really
It's
cool
a little
building.
different because it
Yeah.
had the garage, has a garage entrance, right?
Yeah, and it had the old storefront on the left side,
Yeah.
the garage on the right side. There's a very small amount, if I recall, of metal fencing on the storefront side.
Yeah.
The garage side, obviously not. So
I mean, you've gone through painstaking details here on the facade and all, and to just see that metal railing just make that, there's an opportunity there, I think, to complete that facade with some more detail on the fence and railing that would really pull it
yeah,
together.
we're open to it.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gucciardo, would it be an improvement in your view if the railing were wood, but the fence remained consistent with the existing block paradigm?
I have no issue with, I don't think there needs to be consistency in railings. I think you have to go with what's appropriate for the particular property. In my opinion, and I believe there'd probably be more evidence, these stairs, the railings on the stairs and the fence were most likely wood on this property. That would be my guess.
I agree. I think the landing, the stoop, all that would have been wood.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think the concession was that a wood stoop and stairs present other issues nowadays. And
For
so
sure.
I think the idea is like a masonry stoop would be acceptable in this case because of the larger block paradigm. But
Right.
yeah, we're open either way. I think the preference would be to maintain a stoop that is masonry, just in terms of maintenance and upkeep and longevity. I think if anything, we could look at the handrails, guardrails, fencing as being the wood element if there's an interest in having wood in the project. The other thing is we've added vegetation. It'd be nice for the vegetation to live, right? So the wood fencing won't really help with that. We'll probably have to kind of pull the vegetation back a bit, right? So it's not all in shade, but we're open to the fencing. So.
I agree with the comments about the wood stoop and the wood railings, and potentially also the wood fencing. I do appreciate sort of the modern interpretations of some of the materiality at the facade and even the roof. I don't think this building would have had a metal roof, but I agree at the eye level, at the streetscape level, it needs to be a little more traditional.
We do see a metal roof, though, in the 38 photograph, right?
Yeah, that was our
And that's what this
interpretation
is
of that,
based
yeah.
off of?
Yep.
So like a later alteration, yeah.
There's buildings on Mercer Street. It may have had an originally metal roof.
Yeah, I don't oppose
Yeah.
the metal roof. I do like some of the modern materials because
And we actually did-
the original materials are mostly lost, and so it's interesting to bring it back in sort of a more contemporary way, but still look traditional.
We did on the 115 Coles use a metal roof as well, similar period, right? So, yeah.
And the basement windows or ground, whatever we're calling that down there, those are, I see they're just kind of two small windows in brick. Is that the historic size of the opening down there, or have you been able to find any evidence of what the windows were historically like on that floor?
So you can see on the front there, they've covered them over on the exterior. On the interior, there is some, we think we're able to identify some sense of what those openings are. Once we do full demolition, we should be able to actually establish the original opening. And the discussion was that all the window sizes will be updated once we've had the opportunity to go through and take detailed measurements from the inside once we've exposed everything, including the basement there.
Any further questions for the applicant?
No, I think generally this is a great project, and if it turns out as good as it did on Cole Street, I think it'll be a great addition to the neighborhood.
Okay, if that concludes your testimony, any other things you want to add?
That does, and I would just add, we've received the staff memo prepared by Michael, and we're fine with all those conditions included therein. I guess just for the sake of the record, I do feel obligated to clarify that it is, I believe, a non-contributing home on this block based on the GIS map. But besides that, we're in agreement with everything in the memorandum and the conditions.
I will note that is included in the state report, not in the local designation. The local designation doesn't distinguish between contributing and non-contributing, but not a problem. If that concludes the testimony, we will move on to public comment. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak in regards to this application, please approach the public comment mic. Staff sees no members of the public present and recommends a motion to open and close public comment.
Motion to open and close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll move into staff comments. Staff finds this to be mostly consistent with the historic design standards and Secretary of the Interior standards for historic preservation. So we have a full height rear addition. As they stated, they are maintaining those wing walls in the rear and wing, and also maintaining the pitch of the existing roof as well as the peak. The rear addition will not be visible from directly across the street, and we can confirm that. It will be obliquely visible through the eastern side, as the applicant stated. Additionally, they are maintaining a 38-foot rear yard setback, which is more than what is required per the zoning. So as such, the proposed rear addition at the property appears to be consistent with the existing block paradigm and the development patterns of the area. Additionally, on the 1938 tax card photo, you can see that there have already been alterations to the building, the asphalt faux brick, as well as replacement of the windows likely, as well as some of the front facade elements. Since the 1938 tax card photo, we've also seen a replacement of that asphalt siding to vinyl, changes to the window fenestration, changes to the front door, removal of the chimney, and parging of the brick foundation. One of the things I think that Dan and myself both worked on this application, as well as was stated Maggie, when Dan and I were speaking with the applicant, I think one of the considerations in the 1938 tax card photo, you cannot see the stoop. It's not really clear what's there. Our take on it was, rather than conjecture, we would kind of be open to masonry as well as wood, since we didn't have a definitive answer on what that stoop was. When we did the exploratory demo, we didn't really gain any knowledge on what material that would have been. But additionally, as I just stated, the applicant started exploratory demo on the front facade on August 19th, and myself as well as Dan Reardon met on site with the architect on August 21st, 2025 to review that work. The proposed work to the front facade restoration reflects the information obtained from the start of that investigatory demo. However, we would have liked to have seen a little bit more removed off of the facade while we were there, but we didn't have a contractor present, so we were kind of pulling things off with our hands. Wasn't the ideal situation. So further investigatory demolition is needed for the front facade to confirm those details, confirm all of those items. And that kind of leads me into some of the conditions on the staff report. We have a few unique ones, so I'll read those into the record. The applicant shall continue investigatory/exploratory demo of the front facade to the satisfaction of the HPO. All information obtained from the investigatory work shall be reflected on the construction documents prior to their signature by the HPO. Additionally, throughout the course of construction, site and photographic evidence shall prevail over the approved drawings for the restoration of the front facade of the existing historic building. The applicant shall revise the plans prior to the submission of construction documents to include detailed measured photographs of the front facade. All shop drawings are to be approved by the HPO prior to purchase, manufacture, and/or installation of the wood, windows, cornice, and doors. The rest of the ones on the staff report are all our standard conditions. And then the ones that I picked up tonight while the commission was talking. So the first, we have the applicant shall work with HPC staff to retain any historic material and, if possible, reuse the material on the facades. Then the applicant shall provide a story pole for HPC staff to confirm the height and visibility of the proposed bulkhead. The roof area nearer to the front facade in front of the bulkhead shall not be used for leisure purposes. And then last and not least, the applicant shall work with HPC staff to revise the front areaway fence and entranceway stoop to wood. Any further things that I left out or any things that we would like to add?
Sorry, to clarify, the stoop is well to wood?
That was one of the things I was going to ask. Do you guys, the whole stoop, masonry base, wood railing?
What are we basing our decision on? If it's subjective, then, I certainly understand that masonry is preferred over wood, but what is appropriate if you're going to wood for the fence and the railing? What would be the material that would be appropriate for the stairs? So I guess it depends on what it looks like in terms of, does it make sense for masonry to be below those wood railings, Jeff? Is it possible to make it, feel right with the with the front of that building?
That's a good question. Yeah, we'd have to look at it and see.
So I would say you need to have some solutions proposed in order to make that decision.
Or maybe the wording isn't a wood stoop, it's study it as a masonry and a wood stoop and see what, is satisfactory to staff.
So maybe the applicant shall work with HPC staff to revise the front areaway fence and entranceway stoop to an historically appropriate material.
I would say, revise the material based on historic evidence too, could be one.
Well, I think we already heard there wasn't really any evidence. Maybe in conjunction with staff with an expressed preference for the use of wood materials whenever feasible.
Or like a paradigm within this historic district for buildings of this type, style, and age, something to that effect. Like, there are other examples of this era of building in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't think it should be up for grabs whether the railings and the fence are wood or metal. I think it's pretty clear that wood would be the appropriate material here. We're trying to make an allowance given considerations of durability and maintenance, but ultimately it's a wood stair. That's what it is.
I think also, though, compatibility with the surrounding buildings, which is something we consider.
And the ordinance says it can't just be on conjecture. So
Right.
if you're saying it needs to be wood, I would recommend that you say explicitly why you're saying wood
Right.
over stone or anything else other than general preference for the building type and the era type, because that to me sounds respectfully like conjecture.
Yeah, right. No, understood. Understood. This is, many years of hearing cases like this, seeing buildings like this, and that's where I'm making the reference from. We've seen it many times, the age of the building.
This being a frame building, it would be very rare if it's originally constructed with a masonry stoop. Now,
Exactly.
it could have come in during the period of significance, certainly, but we don't have a good photo of it in the tax photo.
Right.
We don't seem to have uncovered any good evidence on site. So I do think at least the stoop itself remains open to me. But the railings should be wood at a minimum.
I can certainly live with that.
Okay.
Okay, so the applicant shall work with HPC staff to revise the front areaway fence and entrance stoop railing to wood, and the applicant shall work with HPC staff to review the stoop to ensure its historical appropriateness.
There you go.
Thank you.
It would have been helpful, I suppose, to have had photographs of comparable properties from the area so that we could see what is present in other properties. I mean, that's oftentimes what we see. When we have to make a tough call like this, we will rely on similar properties as precedent. We don't have any here.
There you go.
Okay, so again, if the HPC finds that this application is appropriate with the conditions in the staff report and those read into the record, then HPC staff recommends a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness with those conditions.
Motion.
Second,
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Stephen.
Commissioner Gunther?
Aye.
Commissioner Blazak?
Aye.
Commissioner Gordon?
Aye.
Commissioner Gucciardo?
Aye.
Commissioner Kalbach?
Aye.
And Chair Cronin.
Aye. Congratulations.
So we have 6 in favor, no against, no abstentions. The certificate of appropriateness with conditions is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll need a break unless we're finishing up in the next few minutes.
We are going to finish up in the next few minutes. So, as far as tabled cases, I do not have any updates on either the tabled case in the applications. 172 Belmont, I do not have an update on. 384 Communipa, I also don't have an update on. We have no resolutions to review and approve, and we do not need an executive session. So all that is left this evening is adjournment. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, the time is 8:21. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.